Howdy YouTube, today we're taking a look at the Jakks UFC from Series 1. We're taking a look at Cheick Kongo. Certainly one of my favourite heavyweights from the UFC, currently fighting with Bellator at the moment, where I believe he's actually undefeated. Not undefeated, sorry, that's a lie. He's only lost one fight, and that was for the championship from memory. Recently just come off a victory, which was pretty cool. Always love seeing this guy fight. He's had some amazing fights, like the one with Pat Berry, which I think people should watch. That's on par with the Travis Brown, Andre Arlovski fight that we recently saw. Just an epic, both men are dazed and, you don't know which one's going to be standing. But he's also had some really bad fights as well. He comes, obviously, from his appearance at UFC 75, where he wore the black trunks. Pretty cool figure, that's for sure. He comes in the standard octagon style packaging, which I was never really a big fan of. I was very glad when they switched to the sleeker style packaging with some of the later UFC figures. It's really a shame Jakks don't make more of these or continue to make them even on a limited basis like they do with the TNA wrestling figures, just because these are really, really awesome figures, and the amount of work they put into the UFC figure line was pretty awesome. So let's get Cheick Kongo opened up and out of packaging. Taking a look at the back of the packaging, nice shot of Cheick Kongo. One thing I think is interesting with the early Series 1 UFC figures is a lot of them tended to have just the plain black or white gloves, as opposed to the red or blue, which the UFC fighters tend to use. Other figures in the set, of course, what have we got? We've got Chuck Liddell, Anderson Silva, pretty awesome, Forrest Griffin, Michael Bisping, Mike Swig, Cheick Kongo, Evan Tanner, and Kevin the Monster Randleman. Believe it or not, that's a pretty solid lineup of figures. All really, really awesome MMA fighters. A lot of legends there too. The Kevin Randleman I will review for you guys, along with the Chuck Liddell, because they are fantastic figures. Interesting stats on Cheick Kongo at the bottom there. Obviously, he fights out of France, 6'4", 240 pounds, so one of the lighter heavyweights. At 109, he's actually almost a light heavyweight, so that's pretty interesting. So let's get this guy opened up and out of packaging. And here we have Cheick Kongo opened up and out of packaging. Certainly one of the cooler UFC figures we've gotten. I'll bring it forward so you guys can take a look at the face. I'm not sure whether I like the face or not. I think it does look like Cheick Kongo to some extent, but at the same time I think they could have done a lot better as well. Moving down, obviously you see the pretty plain black trunks that Kongo wears. Probably one of my favourite Cheick Kongo moments is when he's gearing up to fight Frank Mir, and they do the pre-fight video, and in the pre-fight video, Frank Mir's like, I'm going to take him out of his element, I'm going to submit him, I'm going to punish him, I'm going to lay a beating on him, and then they go to Cheick Kongo, and he literally is laughing, and he's like, no. It was a pretty cool Cheick Kongo moment. He ended up, unfortunately, getting smashed in that fight, but still really, really cool figure here. One thing I think is interesting is obviously he's got the tape around the feet and the ankles there, and the Punisher tattoo that I never really noticed before, if I'm honest. Now, one thing I think is interesting is he does actually have a tattoo on his arm, which for some reason isn't on the figure, even though it's on the box. So I think that's a little bit interesting, but otherwise a pretty solid figure. One of the other things I think is really cool is that he's got the white skins underneath his MMA trunks under there, and they've painted that. So great extra detail on the figure, which I really, really like. Now, in terms of articulation, he comes with the standard UFC articulation, which is a ball-jointed head. He's got the weird arm joint, which allows you to get some really good punching poses. Ball-jointed shoulder, swivel in the bicep, bend at the elbow, standard wrist articulation. He's got the ab crunch, swivel waist, ball-jointed legs, swivel or ball-jointed thigh, I should say. No swivel down the bottom here at the legs, which some of them do have, which is awesome. But he does have the double bend in the knee and then ball-jointed ankles. So pretty decent range of articulation, certainly compared to wrestling figures. The UFC ones have much more, and I think are a superior figure mold, which is really, really cool to see. Now, just for comparison, I've got Cheick Kongo with another Bellator heavyweight, Kimbo Slice, who did really well against Ken Shamrock. Honestly, if you're a fan of Bellator and you're a fan of Cheick Kongo, then this guy's pretty cheap. He is hard to find, though, and it's kind of hit and miss whether he turns up on eBay or not. So if you are a fan, then absolutely I'd get him. If you're just a general UFC or figure fan, you could probably give him a miss. There are a lot of other cooler UFC figures out there. For example, the detail on Kimbo Slice, which is a really, really awesome figure, regardless of whether you're a fan of his or not. So it's really up to you. I'm glad I picked this guy up because I am a fan of Cheick Kongo. Hopefully he does well at Bellator. They're talking about a fight between Kimbo Slice and Cheick Kongo, which would be very exciting to see. That or Kongo versus Bobby Lashley. Two fights I think would be pretty epic. But hopefully you guys would pick this guy up, and you've enjoyed this review on the Jakks UFC Series 1 Cheick Kongo.